We'll start within 1 minute.
Sunita has joined, sir. Hi, Sunita. Sunita, can you unmute yourself? So she's unable to unmute herself. Yeah, good. Hi, Sunita. Yeah, still, okay. So,
Good evening, ladies
sir.
and gentlemen. We absolutely believe in the power of innovative entrepreneurship on every level. That's why we are exploring ways to improve our education wing by making it as effective as possible. I, Priyanka, on behalf of Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals, welcome you all to the leading Industry Insights wing to educate and make aware mankind in the country and globe. Here are some house rules for you. Keep your phone in silent mode. Rename yourself with mobile number. Put your queries in the chat box. Keep your notepad and pen ready. Note down all the relevant points for discussion. Also, for your information, a recorded version of webinar will be available on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you. Now, it is time to learn the fundamentals of the Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals. Unite together, succeed together. The Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals is a unique, multi-stakeholder organization of visionary industrialists, businessmen, and professionals who share a commitment in shaping the future of industry and society at large. The Federation of Indian Industry and Professionals is a not-for-profit organization. FIIP was established on the 1st of October 2020, with the objective of boosting a small and medium business movement across the country, and becoming the voice of India's various business sectors. It serves its members, and the whole society, through the private and public corporate sectors within the country. FIIP is a lifeline for new startups, small and medium business leaders. It is a crucial platform for networking and collaboration for each stakeholder, who is working for the nation-building cause, and to build Atmanirbhar Bharat. FIIP is actively engaged in the welfare of business community and general society. It encourages debate and organizes engagement programs with policymakers, Indian private and public corporate sectors, multinational companies, regional chambers of commerce, industrial associations and professional associations in each state of the country. FIIP has created a cluster network of 40,000 plus GST practitioners and made available a platform for networking and consensus building within and across sectors, and is the best platform for Indian industry, policymakers and the international business community. Vision: to facilitate and boost entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial development in the country, to support socio-eco development leaders throughout the nation, to encourage women power in various fields, to make Atmanirbhar Nari. Mission: creating a world-class talent body of 5 lakh influential and powerful industrialists, entrepreneurs, businessmen, women, and professionals through FIIP platform within 10 years. DNA: sustainable growth, empowerment, and creation. Purpose: helping business people, supporting economic development. Creating industrial insights, inculcating industrial development. Facilitating forums for professionals, solving problems with the right solutions. Enhancing skills among business owners, and creating a common platform for building interpersonal relationships. Support for micro, small, and medium enterprises businesses, formulating applied strategies to meet challenges of various industries. Making society aware of social, health, and environmental issues. FIIP has various business platforms such as Network, Industrial Insights, Katta, Spot, Digital, Womenpreneur, and Navorja. These platforms facilitate to make our country Atmanirbhar Bharat in the field of socio-eco-environment, education, social and life. Now, it's time to present you Industrial Insights topic for the day. We all know that business is an organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial or professional activities. And of course, business is to earn profit. Business comprises very many functions like marketing, sales, service, finance, purchase, R&D, engineering, logistics, human resource, personnel, facility, quality and many others. Further, these functions will have various systems and processes. We need adequate knowledge and various skills to practice and execute these systems and processes, and handle these functions to run the business or an enterprise and achieve desired results. This is where industry insights play an important role in providing inputs on various topics for all kind of business categories and professionals. Industry Insights will have series of programs organized every fortnight, and it will cover topics in different categories like financial management and accounting, marketing, sales and service, managerial skills and people management, project management and planning, quality systems and quality management, business establishing process, government policies, support system, and legal aspects of business, and many more. These main categories will have very many subtopics to comprise all information and contents. For example, financial management and accounting will have financial planning, management accounting, auditing, taxation, etc., etc. Marketing, sales and service category will have brand management, digital marketing, handling objections, customer retention, etc. Under managerial skills and people management, we will have leadership skills, team building and motivation, delegating skills, analytical skill and many more topics. Project management and planning category will have project planning and budgeting, resource management, risk management, strategic alignment, etc., etc. Under quality systems and management, there will be topics like 4 main elements of quality, 7 principles of QMS, total quality management, ISO, etc., etc. Government policy support system and legal aspects of business will cover topics like government schemes and policies, role of banking in economy, role and support of MSME, etc. The laws to maintain the decorum as per state and central government. With this brief about the industry insights, now I request our programs coordinator to take over for introducing today's topic and the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome. Good evening to all of you. And here we start our program today. The Board of Directors of FIIP has given us the full freedom to take over as, the all-woman session today. So let's invite our first speaker, Sunita Pola, who is actually a program leader at Infosys and working on the Oracle platform. But what is more important about her is that she is a marathon runner. Now she would be talking about physical fitness in women's life. Let me introduce more about her. She is an IT professional. She completed 3 full marathons till date. She ran from Bidar to Hyderabad as part of the Spirit of Pinkathon Run, awarded the most improved runner by Hyderabad runners in the year 2020. The message to all women from her is please embrace any form of physical activity to stay active, fit with the positive energy, and take care of yourself and family more happily. Society teaches women to live in a bubble, but they are born to fly high in the sky to break all the boundaries and achieve their dreams. Very well said, Sunita. I welcome you on the platform. Please go ahead and teach us more about your physical fitness routine.
Yeah, hi Sucheta, and good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. So actually, my running journey started like initially I was overweight, and also due to my hectic lifestyle, that made me get into running. But once I got into running, it was not just to reduce my weight, but it became a stress buster for my hectic office work. And also, usually, generally, I start my day most of the times with running or any other activity. And it is also said that the first hours of the day, how you spend, that will reflect your entire day. So, ideally, I try to spend first half of the day with some or the other activities so that the rest of the day I can take it up if more efficiently. And my first marathon, I think still that is an accomplishment. I did my first marathon during my periods, and running 6.5 hours continuously in that physical state, it made me really strong mentally. So running as a sport gave me more mental strength, and now I feel it will help me to face any other challenges in life. And it also gave me the confidence in my work to lead any challenges in my work life too. And this year I do have some goals in, or say, in my bucket list. We have something like a 12-hour stadium run where we need to run. I mean, it's combination of run and walk, but we are supposed to do it continuously for 12 hours. So this year I'm planning to train for that. So over to the audience if they have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Sunita. Actually, we will take the question and answer session at the end of the session. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was quite insightful. The way you took up the physical activities as a priority in your life. That was really wonderful. Let's move forward and greet our keynote speaker today, Madhuri Dandekar, who is CA and founder director of Encoat Industries Private Limited. She would be talking on leadership excellence for women entrepreneurs. Let me introduce more about her. She is having 25 plus experience in corporate sector as head of F&A. She did her CA in 1987 and joined industry after spending 2 years in professional practice. She has worked in various renowned industries like Kalyani Group, Anand Group, Taco Group, Kirloskar, Firodia Group, in different roles, and setting up the greenfield company to establish the proper financial control and a review system for better management control. She worked in advisory role in financial as well as business restructuring at educational institutions. She has hands-on experience of running manufacturing facility as plant head. She works on assignment basis as a CFO and helps companies to establish proper treasury and accounting system and budgetary and costing mechanisms for efficient management control. She has recently started all women-owned manufacturing unit, and she is a passionate farmer and enjoys interacting and helping people and loves traveling. Madhuri Madam, welcome to FIIP, Women's Wing, and the stage is up to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And hello, good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, thank you for the introduction. And I'm also happy to share this platform with other two achievers. And I just heard Sunita, and I completely agree with her that we have to have a bucket list. We have to follow that passionately. I think these two things are very common with us, and it's very important also for all of us to follow that. Just improving career or going ahead in the career is not important. This also is equally important. I think I'll cover this aspect also while talking. So allow me to share my screen, and then we can start. Yeah, so I think we already went through the basic instructions for the session so that we have uninterrupted attention and then take maximum out of it. See, when I was told to talk about this topic, why this is not going, okay. So when I was told to talk about this topic, I agreed immediately, but then I realized that most of my career years, I would say, are in the industry as working in the industry as a professional. Though in last 25 years, I have gained a lot of experience and exposure and the knowledge through working with various companies. I think then I realized that these are the areas or the qualities which today I encourage myself, or I took a step to become an entrepreneur. The reason lies in those 25 years, which are more than 25 years, which are spent while working in industry. So what I'm doing here is I will be taking you through my exposures in last 25 years, my professional journey, and I'm trying to identify or highlight the areas or the characteristics or the areas of strength which I learned out of my each experience in my each assignment. And that is what today is on that basis only today I have taken, about 3 months back I took a step to become an entrepreneur. Of course, that's a completely different ball game, but then I thought I will be ready, and that is what I thought, that the leadership skill sets or these leadership qualities are developed through these 25 to 30 years, and therefore allow me to take you through this my professional journey. I started in 87. I qualified as a chartered accountant in 87. I was the first lady chartered accountant from Satara. It's a small town near Pune, about 2 hours drive. So that is the starting point for me. That people were not believing there that, oh, a lady can be, oh, acha, okay, apne CA kiya hai, fine. But there is nothing more than that. Nobody would come to me for any professional help. Nobody will allow me, or nobody will give me a job as a chartered accountant. I realized that in 87. So, and that's the reason then I moved to Pune. I actually worked with a CA firm for 2 years, and then realized that there are so many limitations in the professional journey if you want to practice. I'm talking about almost 30 years back. So you can imagine the general atmosphere at that time, which is very, very different as compared to today's exposure to women. And that is the reason then I decided that I should look at the industry to choose that as my career. And therefore I got an opportunity to join the Kalyani group, the Bharat Forge group. I joined as an assistant to MD in Kalyani Sharp. that was the electronic or white goods industry at that time. And that was very interesting job. And I mean, तब तो हम young होते हैं, and there was always a fire कि कभी ना नहीं बोलना है किसी चीज को. So when they said कि will you take up this job, so I said yes. I mean, without even asking what it means, I joined that, and I took up that challenge, to be honest, and that helped me a lot. Why I'm saying this? Because this is the industry, or this is the period in which fortunately I got an extremely good boss, or I would call a mentor, my first mentor. Even after 30 years, I owe him a lot of qualities which I have developed, or a lot of skills which I have developed over a period. But I owe him that. First is, he said, there is nothing to worry about, and nobody, मतलब कोई ऊपर से ज्ञान लेके नहीं आता है. So if you show the willingness to learn, there is no limit. So never be afraid to say anything that I don't know, but tell me how to do that, and I will do that. So first the basic question when we normally encounter is, अरे मुझे पता नहीं है तो मैं ना पता नहीं है ये कैसे बोलूं. And this is the first thing which he taught me. There is nothing wrong in saying that, oh, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And it's not a rocket science. So he actually taught me a lot in terms of, when you are doing a job, what is needed for you to understand from the other functions to perform your job in a better manner, you must learn that. And it's not a rocket science. I still remember, and I keep telling this to my colleagues also, that nothing is rocket science. Try to understand what is important for you to learn out of this. You don't have to be an engineer to understand the detailed designing, no, but you need to understand that how does that work, so that how you can assign the financial numbers to that and understand the process. To that extent, you must understand how it works. That's all. Therefore, it is not a rocket science, and understand what is needed for you to perform your job in a better manner. This was my first learning from my mentor. See, every opportunity which I got, there is always a takeaway from that, and that is always how you improve yourself as a better skilled person or better human being to perform your next assignment in a much better manner. I have always looked at all these 25 years exposures in this manner, and that has helped me a lot. The most important, another point which I learned here, because fortunately, when I was, this job allowed me to work with MD and always have a top-down approach for the organization and the operation. And that has helped me a lot to how to look at on a macro level, but also identify what are the micro points which are important to perform our job. So macro view is extremely important. A top-down approach is extremely important for any business, but not to allow it to become a failure, what are the key micro points which you should keep in mind? I learned this in my first assignment. And the most important point which I learned in this assignment, because we were working on a very huge project, which eventually didn't take off for different reasons, but then the kind of detailing which was going in the preparation of the projects was massive. At that time, you can imagine, like 30 years back, it was for more than 400 crore project, and a team of about 5-6 people were working on that. A very experienced people from technical side, from the industrial experience side were working on that, and I was the only like a junior most person who was assigned to like accompany them and keep record and like ensure that the finances are there. That's all. But in the process, I learned a lot with them. So the kind of detailing, 2.5 years we worked on that project, and the kind of detailing which we had gone through, that has actually, I mean, now when I look back, when I realize that experience of mine has helped me throughout in my career, and that is what has become my key strength. The devil is in detail. And you have to go through in the such a detailed level, even at the planning stage, so that you don't miss out on any points. You don't get any surprises. Of course, while implementing, you get the surprises, those are different, but how to minimize that, how you anticipate those risks, and how to be ready for handling those risks at the planning stage, at the chalkboard stage, so take a paper and pen and then plan as much as possible, get into detail as much as possible at that stage only, so that you don't miss out and you are ready for any risk or any I would say any occasions which you face. You will have some idea, okay, oh, we had anticipated this and we thought we will handle it in this manner. Okay, now the intensity is different than what we had planned, but yes, we are aware of this. So you are mentally ready, and these are certain skills which I'm mentioning, which I acquired to become a better professional leader. And these are also the skills or the qualities which are important when we as a women, or for that matter any entrepreneur who is like starting his journey as an entrepreneur, are very, very important. These are very key skills or the point or the areas of importance which everybody has to keep in mind. So this was over these 5 years, I mean, this was like my learning period, I would say, in that group. So this is an advantage which I learned, and I tried to carry these very special skills which I learned while working in Kalyani Group. This gave me, actually I worked with Kalyani Sharp, that is a white good industry. I worked with Kalyani Steel, and that is again gave me exposure after the project, that gave me exposure to new project funding, that is a short-term and long-term funding, and the treasury management. This is an extremely important area for any new project or any new venture, I would say. How to plan, again, the devil is in detail. We planned it in such a manner and planned the finances also in such a manner. You won't believe, even on a paper stage, we already had a 5-year financial planning, a cash flow management, and for first 2 years, a monthly financial planning. I mean, that is the learning. I mean, Baba Kalyani, I mean, I had an opportunity to work with Dr. Baba Kalyani on these at that time, and extremely good eye for the detail. And that is what the key, I would say, that is the key for the success as on today. I have seen at that time, I think that Kalyani Group or Bharat Forge Group was hovering around like 800-900 crore. And we have seen in last 25 years how they have grown and how they have ventured into different areas and still become a successful group in every venture which they have. The key point is Baba Kalyani has extremely good eye for detailing. He insists on going into detail and planning everything. That is the most crucial key point, I think, which all of us have to learn, and it has made me a better performer as far as my other or the future positions were there. So then when I moved to Bayer India, that was again a challenge for me. Though I was there for 5 years as a CFO, I started that company. This was my first exposure to deal with a foreign collaborator. So again, a huge exposure, how a European company or European management looks at Indian market, looks at the Indian management, looks at the team, the team, or as a human resource development. A tremendous learning which I had, and there was a challenge for me to perform as a CFO. So CFO is particularly these type of companies, CFO is a co-pilot. Every decision, every business decision which is proposed or planned by the CEO or the head of the company has to be supported equally by the CFO. So I used to handle, because there were two partners, I used to handle the secretarial part and handle the business meetings also with them. And every board meeting, the the director, finance directors from Bayer used to ask me very specifically, Mrs. Dandekar, do you agree with this? So I used to be very confused that, I mean, the CEO of the company is telling this, that these are the plans and this is how we will move ahead. These are the operations, these are the costs, etc. So why he is asking me again? I mean, I used to always feel be a little confused. So then they said, okay, yes, you are the co-pilot and you have to, the financial angle, the risk, financial risks, you have to have an independent assessment of that, independent assessment of the market risk, independent assessment of the costs involved, and you have to vouch for that as a CFO, because you are you have to be an independent person who handles this company and ensures as a trustee of the both the investors, both the parties. So that is where my role as a CFO was much more defined, I would say, as a trustee of the shareholders funds, and that's very important. So that's a very critical role which you are required to play as a CFO. This is a slightly different role from a traditional role of a CFO. We call it as a CFO, but typically what happens, this is a head of F&A, finance and accounting. So what happens is this role is particularly is the accounting, or what has happened is reflecting in the accounting, but typically it happens after all the actions are done. Accounting is nothing but the recording of what has happened in the and that is the correct accounting, and then following the accounting requirements and standards and company accounts and all that. But typically this is a post action. This happens after the actions have happened. Why I'm mentioning this, that nowadays if you see what happens as a CFO or happens as a proactive management, CFO's role has changed very drastically. And now in a true sense, the CFO is a co-pilot in terms of how to use the accounting tools, how to use the data, past data, for taking the correct future decisions for the management. So the role of a CFO from the record keeping is now changed to in true sense, a co-pilot, and helping with the correct data, capturing the correct data of the processes and the purchases and the costs and the market trends and all that, but to help the management to take the correct decisions for a future growth, for a more profit making, to make the institution as a more profit making institution. So this is a drastic shift which we see nowadays. I had experienced that in my assignment with Bayer India, and that's the huge value addition for me. It changed my approach, it changed my view, how I look at this position as a CFO. And therefore it is very important that we understand our role, which is much more than accounting and recording the data and presenting to the shareholders as, oh, this is what has happened, and then go into the analysis. Typically what happens in board, that the discussion happens ki ye kyun hua, then what are the mistakes, how do we overcome, but how to use that data for the future planning is what was a key learning for me. Another key learning particularly from this assignment was how the European companies look at the profitability in next few years. This was very important and a great learning, because they look at as a product costing. Even today, the traditionally run companies in India, in Maharashtra, are not looking at the product costing as a tool to improve the profitability. Unfortunately, that is true. Even in my last assignment also, I had to bring this point to the notice of the management, even though that's a 200 crore company. The last year, I mean, this 4 months back, I was working with them, and I had to highlight that, oh, let us go with the product costing, and that would change the entire scenario, how the management should look at the future planning. I learned this because that is what I learned from Bayer. They used to ask us to make the profitability statements for next 3 years in terms of the product costing. And that's the extremely good and important, the most important aspect for any entrepreneur, for any business, for any SME who is on a growth path, to look at this as a product costing or the cost aspect. They have to look at as a tool to use, where to understand where we are today and how we should go about it. It can be used for our changing the product mix. It can be used to improve the processes, the manufacturing processes. It can be used to target the market segments and so on and so forth. So it's extremely important aspect again, which I could learn in this assignment with Bayer Germany. And moving on, then the Liquibox again, I was there for 2 years. It was a food packaging and a completely different exposure, but again it was 100% subsidiary. I was there for only for 2 years because worldwide DuPont took over this group. And of course, in India also, they took over this group and moved the facility to Gujarat. And then I was not at that time willing to go move there. So I left that. But again, that is how one looks at even though we had a very small unit and our sale was like a 50 lakh a month. But even though we did that, how to control the costs and be still profitable. That was the approach which they were taking. Good learning again, a different kind of industry, a cyclical business. And so how to reduce the cost, how to control the cost when you are actually off season, are few learnings which are the very important learnings even for any entrepreneur, as I said. So what I'm trying to do is what I learned today as being a very effective CFO are the most of the qualities which I learned are also important to be an entrepreneur. And that is the reason when what I do is help the businesses to improve their efficiencies and profitabilities while setting up the systems. These are the learnings which I use, which are very helpful for me to use. Kirloskar brother, again, it was a completely different scenario. This was a turnkey contract division. We used to undertake very peculiar contracts. We used to take mostly with the government. It used to run from like 1 year to 4.5 years. So how to basically incorporate the risks which will walk in terms of the highest duration of the projects, how to anticipate those risks, how to cover that in the project costing, how to set up the cost management systems, project costing management system, and the reporting system are the learnings for me, particularly working with the Kirloskar brother. Of course, I could participate and I could do a value addition on a large basis because for the first time in their lifetime, we could report a project-wise profitability, because their management used to always say that, oh, we are running about 20-25 projects at any given point of time, and we really don't know whether we are making a profit or not. And we only come to know about it when we close the project, maybe after a year or maybe after 2 years or maybe after 3 years. And then at that time, we realize that, oh, actually, we never made any profit out of it because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons. But again, that's a postmortem. As I said, it's accounting and it's information which is made available to management after the activity has happened. And they can't do anything much about it. And that was always their dilemma, and they were always afraid, oh, we are taking these big projects, but are we really making profit out of it? So I sat with the project management team, I sat with the ERP team, I sat with the monitoring team, I sat with the marketing team, understood what is important for me to establish a monitoring system which I can convert into financial monitoring system. And for the first time, we started reporting a project-wise profitability as a part of our monthly MIS. which was a huge success and gave me a lot of satisfaction that I could contribute to that. Going ahead, then I joined a TACO group, again a manufacturing unit, auto component manufacturing. I mean, out of 25 years, I think almost more than 15 years I worked directly or indirectly in the auto component manufacturing. And so I'm much more comfortable in that area. So I could contribute more in terms of setting up the systems properly. Again, what I learned in earlier my experiences, I could use here to put the things in such a perspective, because here it was a very typical situation, very peculiar, that the SAP was implemented here, but not implemented. I would say it was a very badly implemented ERP, and the data was not getting captured correctly, and the entire implementing team had vanished. And the CEO and the team knew, I mean, they didn't know where to look for when they were facing the auditors. But that was a challenge for me, and I used my earlier experiences and got into a detail. The devil is in detail again. I mean, I kept on repeating this. I still follow that, and then we could, with the team, we could identify the areas which were not actually capturing the costs at a real-time basis. And that is where we, in 2.5 years, we could implement an extremely good product costing system on a real-time basis. And after 1 year, our actual budgeted profitability, when we did a comparison, our actual profitability had gone up by almost 2.5% than budgeted. So, I mean, I'm saying that this is an extremely important point, that how we can use the data, past data, the real-time capture of the data with the use of the ERPs like SAP, and to take the corrective action immediately and improve the profitability. I believe the financial management tools or the systems can help to improve the process efficiencies in such a manner that okay, the non-organic growth will happen, the market growth will happen, and therefore we can, I mean, the companies will grow. But parallelly, how to improve the systems and how to measure that and capture that in terms of financial terms is very, very important if we have the right systems in place. The next exposure for me in kinetic engineering was a completely different scenario. And I'm really very happy that I could work only for 1.5 years, a little more than 1 year with them. But this was a very peculiar period in which I joined this company. Sulaja Firodia was the director, and she was taking this group through a complete business restructuring and financial restructuring. You can imagine the group which was the company which was a pioneer in bringing in the two-wheeler market scenario in India, like Kinetic and Luna, were in a very, very bad situation for whatever XYZ reasons. And so Leja had taken up this Herculean task of turning around this company and the future of the group. And I joined, she already had started that journey, and I joined her as a CFO there, acting CFO, I would say. And that is where I learned a lot and could participate with her, join hands in a completely different manner how to do the financial restructuring. Otherwise हम बोलते हैं ना कि अरे यार वो तो कंपनी का अभी हो गया सत्यानाश, वो तो अभी they are going down, वो तो बंदी हो जाएगा. But what I learned from her, she's the spirit which nobody can beat. I mean, I can always come back, and that's again an example of women power, I would say. If we can relate it as far as today's session is concerned, I learned a lot. She was fighting like, oh, we will come back. How do I revive? How do I come back as a complete business restructuring? As an owner, she was of course proud to be carrying the legacy, but she had realized that in the current scenario, current situation, I have to take a step back. Instead of OEM, I have to convert this company. If I have to survive, I have to convert this company as a tier 1 supplier to another company. it's not very easy to be in that position, but she took that call. She I think convinced her father and the entire management to go for this step. We converted that company into a tier 1 gearbox manufacturing company, and to Nano. So Nano, at that time Tata Motor was coming up with that, and we had procured that order from them to supply the gearboxes. But for that, the business restructuring was needed to be supported by a financial restructuring. So there were already 2 investors which were in the company, and along with her, we raised about 100 crore in this company. And trust me, it is not easy when you have such a glorious background or legacy, but in past few years, very bad financial performances. To convert that and give the confidence to the investors that yes, this is going to be a profitable investment for them is a Herculean task. And then how to handle those kind of situations and still be a successful fundraiser and maintain the investor relation. It's a very tightrope walk. It was extremely good learning for me that never give up. What is the key for from this assignment which I learned is never give up. ये एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए नए और पुराने एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए काफी जरूरी. इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नेवर गिव अप. Relook at how I can come back, how I can convert this, how I can work something good out of it. Doesn't matter whether this is out of my comfort zone, if I have to take a step back or not, doesn't matter, but how I can come back. Yeah, fighting spirit is very very important as an entrepreneur. And see where today she has turned back after 10 years. What I'm talking about, this was in 2007-8, between 6 and 8 I was working with her, and see after 15 years where she is. She has completely torn around the company, torn around the group. She identified EV as a segment, as a green segment, again is coming back into the auto OEM as a 3-wheeler EV supplier, and so on and so forth. We know how she has come back as a I would say a successful entrepreneur who is a visionary, because she saw that opportunity and converted now into a great business in the EV, in 3-wheeler, again going back to the OEM, the original vehicle manufacturer. But at that time she took that call to take a step back, go for a tier 1 supplier, do a financial restructuring, give a confidence to the investor that yes, we will deliver. And that is very important from the entrepreneur, for any entrepreneur, that for any banker, for any investor, or for any supplier, I would say, the stakeholders, I would say, to give that confidence that yes, I'm capable of converting this into a successful venture. This quality is extremely important. Doesn't matter whether you are a startup person right now, or entrepreneur already, or on a growth path. This aspect is extremely important for anyone who is a team member also in that. Again, in UBAC, when then I moved to Gujarat, and I worked there in a chemical sector. Again, this was a challenge for me. I have never come across or never worked in a continuous process industry, which is a chemical process industry, which every batch has a different challenge in terms of the technology and the quality. So how those people handle that on the shop floor, how those people handle that in the labs or in the market, is what was important or a new thing for me, and how to capture that into a real-time ERP system in ERP. was a challenge for me again. They were into the process of implementing SAP, and how to capture that. Again, I go back to my first experience that nothing is rocket science, but understand the process to the extent which is important for you to deliver your role and deliver your position successfully, do the value addition successfully. Understand that, which helped me to understand the process and reflect that or capture that in the process mapping while we implemented the manufacturing processes in ERP, in SAP. This was one of the best SAP implementation in terms of the complete process capturing, because except HR, we had implemented all the modules at one go. This was the fastest implementation, even from the implementing partner side. They were, I think, a company from Hyderabad, which was taken over by Zensar at that time, if I remember correctly. And they also had taken up, and this was within 8 months' time. We had implemented all of the modules, and we never kept a backup for accounting. And we said, we will not have a backup. We will go live on 1st of January. We took this challenge, and because the process mapping was done extremely correctly, I don't take the credit for myself. There was a big team from the operations side, from the process side, and from the engineering side, which also contributed a lot. But we captured it in such a good manner that in spite of going live on the entire new system on 1st of January, we could offer PwC our accounts for audit on 20th of April. So no hiccups, a correct data capture, correct data processing, and this helped in the next year to the company to improve our profitability by almost 2%. And we could use that the data in terms of selling the correct, offering the correct rates for our product, and also do a correct product mix. We were typically we were into 3 segments in the they're into pigment manufacturing. ये जो Ferrari का red color होता है ना, that pigment all over world is manufactured only at one place, in UVAC color at Ankleshwar. It's a very proud to be associated with this company. But when I was able to give a product cost on month-on-month basis to the management, the marketing people were able to use that and capture a most profitable market, which helped the company to improve the profitability by almost 2% in the next year. So again, these are the learnings for me to become much more, I would say, effective CFO. But as an individual also, I kept on learning these qualities or these key skills, I would say, over the period. So next, then I was with IRMA for a year, and again a new exposure. I kept on experimenting in the last 25 years. I kept on experimenting different segments of the industry, though I'm a little more comfortable in the manufacturing. I kept on experimenting this. And I helped at that time, again, they were into a restructuring format, and I helped the director particularly to look at the finance, not the educational qualities or the parameters to fulfill, but also be self-sufficient as far as the institution is concerned. After that, again, I came back to Pune, and I thought that, okay, enough of working for the people, and let me start using my experience in to help SMEs or the small and medium scale companies to improve the systems, and I give the advantage of my learnings and my experience. But meanwhile, so I did work on a few clients for raising funds, or for I would say treasury management or something like that. So for a few small assignments I did, but then an opportunity again came to me through my earlier bosses, I would say, or mentors in Bayer. And the then boss is a marketing advisor with this group. This is a group based in Faridabad, and they have a small unit in Sandarbha in Pune. and they were looking for, it's a very small unit and it caters particularly to Tata Motor, Mahindra, Mahindra Pune and Mahindra Nasik, and Nissan in Chennai. Almost all the passenger vehicles are supported for the hose and pipe manufacturing as a tier 1 supplier or only supplier, I would say. And this particular unit therefore has a very crucial locational advantage and very critical. They were not getting a good person to head that. And when my ex-boss, he called me and he said, will you look at this? I said, sir, but I never handled this. Is a purely operational position. But he said, no, I know you have spent most of your time on the shop floor than sitting on your seat, and it's not a rocket science, and I'm sure you can do that. So I have a confidence you can do that. Do you have a confidence on yourself? So he was kind of like challenging me. So I also took up that challenge, and I worked there as a plant head. I was the only lady in this unit, and I had almost within including workers, which we were running on 2 shifts. So I had almost more than 200 people with me, and that gave me a complete hands-on experience. That okay, though you know how the operation work, how the production planning happens, how the quality happens, etc. तो वो मतलब बोलते हैं ना कि किनारे पे बैठ के समझने वाली बात है. बट वंस यू जैसे आप मैदान में उतर के करते हो, जब हैंडल करते हो, व्हेन यू हैंडल डे टू डे issues on the shop floor, when you handle day to day queries from the customer like Tata Motor gives you a call and oh, there is a problem, quality problem on the shop floor, and we need another within 30 minutes we need the quality person and the plant head on our shop floor. तो आप मतलब खाना खाते छोड़ के भाग जाते हो, भागना पड़ता है आपको कस्टमर के पास, नो चॉइस, बट देन गो देयर, फिर उनकी हाथ में ऐसे खड़ा रह के सुन लो क्या इशू है, समझ लो, बिकॉज ही इज अ कस्टमर. ओके, यू कांट आर्ग्यू even though you can see that it is not your issue or your product issue, but their process issue or there is something different which has nothing to do with your product. You can't do that there. How to handle that? So what you learn is you have to learn to have a great patience. Also keep on saying that, oh, customer, you are right. Though you know he is not right, you are not wrong. But then use the quality people, use the technical information, find out what is the fact, and then along with work with the team, and then convince him with the facts that that this is not your problem, or how to handle that, or whatever XYZ, a number of issues. I remember I used to get a call from Chennai from Nissan that we need a face-to-face meeting. They never used to believe in Zoom meetings or virtual meeting or nothing. So they used to give me a call at like late evening. So we used to go catch a 5:30 flight in the morning, go to Chennai, go to them, hear them. Meanwhile, try to find out from our person in Chennai कि भैया हुआ क्या है exactly, बुलाया क्यों है हमको, मतलब किस बारे में हमको सुनना है ये तो बताओ कम से कम. So like that. So it was very challenging, very enterprising, very good experience, I would say. And I enjoyed that position and that role, I would say. Believe me, during that period, I had forgotten everything about debit credit and what is GST and tax and this and that. I had nothing to do with that. I was always on the shop floor कि भाई production कितना निकला, क्या issue है, क्या quality है, हमारी activity क्या है, why Mahindra is coming for my process audit again and again, उनके क्या points है, मेरी rating क्यों नहीं बढ़ रही है उनके हिसाब में. I mean, all that operational plethora, I could experience that in 1 year. I'm happy, and to be honest, I was, when I left that job, because for different reasons, for my personal reason, and of course the difference and the traveling was too much and all that. But then when I left, for at least for 2 to 3 months, I used to receive the calls from my customers like Mahindra and Tata Motor कि आपने क्यों छोड़ा, आपने सेटअप, आप मतलब आप वो डिसिप्लिन लेके आ रहे थे शॉप फ्लोर पे, तो क्यों छोड़ा आपने? आई थिंक दैट वाज मतलब वो बोलते हैं ना आपको आपके काम का जो एक्नॉलेजमेंट मिलता है, नथिंग इज ग्रेटर एक्नॉलेजमेंट देन द कस्टमर हु मिसेस यू, even though you have worked there only for a year, but the customer is missing you. So I take that as a good point in my career. So then I finally decided that yes, it's enough now. I have to like slow down and be little choosy and really use my experience in helping the mid-sized companies, as I said. And I got this opportunity for in last year, for last 1 year, almost 11 months I was working in Aurangabad, a very interesting company again. They are into nutraceuticals, kind of a chemical company, but not a chemical company, I would say. But the processes are same. And believe me, this is a typical example of SMEs and MSMEs, which are at the mid section, I would say. They are either complacent with, the founder members or the entrepreneurs are handling everything right from formation of the company. They have brought this company up to a level. They are very happy. They are making money, and but they are stuck there. And why? They don't know how to grow further. They have some issues. Now they realize that for last 5 years I have been growing like 20%, 30% year on year, but now I'm not. So either they themselves don't want to grow, or they don't know what is the reason. And that is exactly what this company was in that phase. Every year they were growing at 40%, and then they had touched the turnover of more than 200 crore. But the financial systems, the data capturing systems, and therefore the monitoring process monitoring was a complete haywire. That is where then I use all these earlier years experience and help them to set up the basic systems and how to basically use the budgeting system, monitoring system, and the monthly MIS. It's not just a number कि सेल कितना हुआ, कॉस्ट कितनी हो गई, मेरा खर्चा कितना था, सैलरी कितना गया, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन में कितना गया, इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट कितना गया. This is all a historical data, I would say. Historical because वो real time नहीं है. But to how to use that data to find out what is going wrong when my profitability is going down for last 3 months. My gross margin is going down for last 2 months. Particular products, my sales are not going up. Particular segment, geographical segment where I'm not getting the kind of a price which I'm expecting, and so on and so forth. These kind of issues are very important for the management to take the call for the future. But to do that, the correct and real-time data should be made available by the function. Now I'm coming back to the function as a finance function, which therefore has to play this role. And therefore setting up the correct capturing of the data and the reporting system is a key as on today. And now when we go ahead and when we see nowadays the requirement from the companies, which are the IFCs, the internal financial control mechanism. Now the auditors are required to comment on that, whether the companies do have these internal financial control mechanisms or not, are coming from this angle. So this was again a good exposure and good, I would say, this was the position where I could use all my experiences to advise and help the company in that. And again, in last few years, I also wanted to get into a social development sector, and I wanted to therefore have experience ki NGOs kaise kaam karti hai. CSR in the developmental areas are the areas which I want to work. I think Sunita mentioned some bucket list. I also have a bucket list, and this was one of that I want to get into a development sector. But I wanted to understand how do they implement? How do we make sure as an investor, as a corporate, if I'm giving somebody a CSR funding, then how do I ensure कि वो सही जगह पे जा रहा है, ग्राउंड मतलब वो ग्रास रूट लेवल पे जा रहा है, वो जेन्युइनली उसका इफेक्ट हो रहा है. ये कैसे इंश्योर करें, बिकॉज इट हैज टू बी इम्प्लीमेंटेड थ्रू सम NGOs etc etc. So how to do that? For that I need to understand how do NGOs work, how do they implement their projects, how do they ensure कि ये जो सोसाइटी लेवल पे जो उसका बेनिफिट होना है वो हो रहा है कि नहीं, how do they measure that. So that is where I wanted to understand, and therefore I worked with NGOs. So got a good exposure that, and that's what so far my almost 30 years journey is. So if I have to capture my learnings which I over my past exposures or past experiences which I kept on sharing in last 10-15 minutes, if I try to capture that, or I would say summarize that for us as an individual to develop ourselves as a good leader, what is important other than our professional improvements or skill set improvements, I would say, as an individual, if we have to grow as a better individual or a skilled individual, these are the few learnings which I thought I can jot down. First is the curiosity. We have to always be, I mean, been there, done that, oh pata hai yaar, hota hai, aise hota hai. No, there is always something new to any situation, doesn't matter chota sa bhi kaam ho, there is always bhai ye kaise hota hai. We should never allow this curiosity to die. We should never be complacent as an individual, as a person, and always be ready to learn. बहुत जरूरी है to be a very successful or a skilled individual or grow as a good leader. Being a good listener is, of course, everybody knows, is an extremely important quality to be a good leader, because unless you are listening to the people in your team, in the where you are downloading or you are delegating your work, you have to be a good listener. You have to understand what are the issues with them. You have to understand what are the strength areas and find out what are the strength areas and weak areas of every team member, and then support them. For that, you have to be a good listener. Of course, being a team player, they have to look at, as your peers have to look at as a good team player. Your subordinates have to look at as a leader who leads by example. सिर्फ बैठ के केबिन में बैठ के बातें नहीं करनी है, but lead it by example, help them. It is again very important for us to develop ourselves as a good leader. You yourself have to believe that nothing is impossible. Unless you believe in that, you can't give this feeling and get the work done by the team. Extremely important. Nothing is impossible. This was the lesson which I learned in my first job from my boss or mentor. Dr. Deshpande is no more. He passed away. He had a heart attack on the airport somewhere few years back. But extremely good person. And I learned this from him. He said, nothing is impossible. Never think that this is, oh, ye main nahi kar sakti. No. And nothing is rocket science, as I said. I learned this from him. Learn what is important for your role. Even today, when I understand, if I have to help someone as a CFO, as an assignment, I first understand कि भाई आपकी process क्या है, उस process में इनके key points क्या है, which are important from a management point of view to monitor that, and which I should capture. बाद में ये mental process अपनी शुरू होती है कि how to capture that, how to measure that, what are the parameters, how can I set the parameters for them to compare it against, so on and so forth. But nothing is rocket science. I need to understand what is key for me. Again, and out of this, then I have to grow as a professional individual and as a better person. And therefore, professional and personal development continues. Doesn't matter whether you have worked for 25 years, 30 years, 5 years, 7 years, or maybe 50 years. This is a continuous process. And as a person, we have to continue learning and developing ourselves towards a better person. There is no competition. There is no competition, and one can never be, should never be a judgmental about ourselves or somebody else. कि भाई वो तो इतना पैसा कमाता है तो मैं कम क्यों हूँ? Forget about that. Have you learned something on your own? Have you become a little better person? कुछ हमने अपने खुद में value addition किया है क्या? Yes, किया है. That should be good enough for you to make yourself happy and make your day. So I always look for something ki, oh, even a small thing ki wo mali kaise wo repotting karta hai. I've learned that, oh, aise karta hai. It's a small thing. Yeah, now I know. So that makes me happy. Even the small things have to be, we have to learn, enjoy doing that. This also I wanted actually, therefore in the synopsis I had mentioned this, particularly being a women professional, women leader or women entrepreneur. It's very, very important that we have to have a work-life balance. Of course, it is important for everyone, for men also, but particularly for women, because see, we are special, okay? By the nature also has given us some very, very special role, I would say, special position, I would say, there are, which nobody else can do, and this is never going to change. So during our professional career, we want to like balance everything. We I think in last year when I was chatting in a seminar with our CA branch in Pune. So we were discussing कि support system create करना कितना जरूरी है. So there I mentioned this कि normally for men, wives are a natural support system. They don't have to look at house and family and relatives and this and that, because wives are there. So what I believe is, if we have to work as a professional or work as an entrepreneur, doesn't matter in what position we have to create our own support systems, because we don't have wives, we have husbands. We don't have wives, and wife का मतलब जो आता है उसके साथ जो मतलब it is assumed that it is a support system which we don't have as a women, and therefore we have to create our own support systems. And while doing that, at different levels of our professional career or our career, I would say in general, there are different periods in which we always end up having a dilemma कि मैं क्या करूं, फैमिली को प्रायोरिटी दूं, घर को ज्यादा प्रायोरिटी दूं, या मेरे प्रोफेशनल करियर को प्रायोरिटी दूं. This is always a dilemma. But trust me, whatever we decide, for example, शादी होने के बाद या फिर when our children are small, our priorities have to be a little different, and there is nothing wrong about it. Many times we women always end up taking a call that I will take a step back in my profession. Why? Because mera beta hai, chota hai ghar pe, I have certain responsibility towards him, and therefore I have to take a call and do a little compromise on my either a position or a promotion or whatever. But there is nothing wrong about it. And at different periods we have to change our priorities. एक बार ऐसे हो गया तो मतलब 25 साल घर पे ही priority देनी है, ऐसी जरूरी नहीं है. When our children are, because I have gone through all this, and when our children are grown up, they don't need you that much. They are now independent. Now refocus on your career. Doesn't matter. There is no race कि वो मेरे साथ जो colleague थे वो आगे चले गए. Doesn't matter. There is never late. I think I mentioned that somewhere. It's never too late to start or learn anything new. And we should never be regretting about it or missing something about it. That's okay. At that period of time, this was my priority. So I had to take this priority, which I did. This was also my responsibility. And therefore, at that time, I did that as a right thing. This was the right thing for me. Now I can refocus on my career. There is nothing wrong about it. But this dilemma, everybody as a women professional or women entrepreneur, we always face this, and we have to take our call. We have to take our call in the professional role while we deliver all our responsibilities as a professional or as a family person. And that's good enough. I mean, at that time, that was the right decision. We should be happy about it. We should never have any regrets, because at that time, at least we get that satisfaction that yes, I did what I was required to do as my responsibility. And so during that period, suppose I took a step back, that's okay. Am I happy? But because I got that satisfaction कि मैंने deliver किया, मैंने उस टाइम जो जरूरी था, मुझे बच्चों को टाइम देना था, वो मैंने दे दिया. And now that the result of that I have raised a good son or a daughter or whatever. So then, because वो period वापस नहीं आने वाला है, so there is nothing wrong for women entrepreneurs, for women professionals. There is nothing wrong about it. We should never be sorry or regretting about it. And that's my experience. I have always kept up this fact that yeah, this was right for me, and this is what I'm doing. So some failures in that, I was looking at some different word. It's not a failure, but maybe a step back. That's okay. And then when you start learning something new, when you take a step as being an entrepreneur, you learn to take that calculated risk, which is important. And when you are in a position to take that calculated risk, go for it. There is nothing wrong. फिर वो बहुत ही कॉशियस होके करूँ नहीं करूँ, उसमें मैं फेल्यूर हो जाऊंगी, नहीं होगा, मैं ये नया रोल ले लूँ नहीं ले लूँ, go ahead, take a step. You think you will enjoy doing that, go ahead and take it. That's very important, because that is going to give you a satisfaction, that is going to give you an enjoyment and a fulfillment feeling. And that's very important, because that is important for you as a person, and that will help to enjoy your life and have a kind of a balanced life. Yesterday I was like going through some Facebook or internet or something like that, and then I came across that we should have 5 categories of hobbies, I would say. Why I'm using this word hobby? Because career also, if we use that, I mean, वो बोलते हैं ना कि you should do what you enjoy doing that. And if you have chosen a career which you love to do, you will enjoy that career, and not as a forced thing. मुझे नौकरी करनी पड़ती है, एक्चुअली मुझे आर्ट में बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट था, लेकिन मुझे ये बैंक की नौकरी करनी पड़ रही है. So then you are not enjoying. So yes, you have to have some hobbies or some areas which you have to earn money, and therefore I call that as a professional career. But parallelly, you have to have your own healthy life. I think Sunita, before I started, Sunita mentioned this very prominently, that having a good personal health and a healthy life is equally important for all of us. Remaining curious, learning few things keeps us very active as far as our mental health is concerned. It's only physical health is not important. Are we learning something new? Are we enjoying the things? Am I being relevant even till today? यार मुझे इंटरनेट पे सर्फिंग करना आता है क्या? There are so many things on the net, on the YouTube. Am I doing that? So am I keeping myself relevant in terms of adding the new knowledge? That is going to keep me happy and healthy, mentally healthy. And being a very positive basically is very important. By this time, we always have to reassess ourselves. If we are getting into a very confusing thing, not able to decide whether to do something or not, ये decision बराबर है कि नहीं, take a step back, stop. Sorry, what is important? Refocus yourself. कि what is important for me? मैं क्या करने जा रही हूँ? इसमें से मैं क्या expect कर रही हूँ? Let me focus on that. Then prioritize something which is not important. Let me declutter that. Let me declutter so that I can focus on certain things which are very important to me, which will help me to deliver or achieve what I'm trying to achieve. Over a period, we have to develop this quality and learn to declutter mindset so that we can focus on what is important. Rest of the things, okay, hota rehta hai. And therefore, once we develop that, and believe me, we can develop ourselves. We don't have third person to come and tell me how to be positive and all that. Yes, there are many seminars and workshops and etc., which are, I won't say not important. Those are important, but you have to learn out of that, because ये खुद ने खुद को डेवलप करना है. No third person is going to develop that for you. So keeping this attitude is very, very important. So I thought I will summarize these 5 areas or the hobbies, I would say, or the segments, I would say, very important for any of us to be to enjoy our life as we go ahead. Now, if I have to summarize this in terms of being an entrepreneur, why it is always very attractive, still very attractive for a lot of people, including me, to become an entrepreneur. During my experience in last more than 25 years, I have learned to understand and analyze कि क्या गलतियां लोग कर रहे हैं, and my job was to understand that and try to help them how to correct that. But then वो बोलते हैं ना, grass is always greener on the other side. I always had that urge कि अरे मैं दूसरों की गलतियां कितने दिन सुधारती रहूं यार. फिर मुझे ये लगता था कि अरे इतना नहीं समझता है क्या कि ये मार्केट फोकस चेंज होना चाहिए. Of course that was not my role, so I couldn't force that. But then I was always thinking कि चलो मैं करके देखती हूँ. And that is actually forced me, or rather ये मेरी मतलब ये इच्छा थी, बकेट लिस्ट में से एक इच्छा थी मेरी. And my nephew contacted me and he said कि if you are joining me and if you are going to handle this, let us start this. I want to start this company and this is the opportunity, this, that, मैंने ये किया हुआ है. He had worked in this segment before and he saw the opportunity, but he said, I am not able to, मेरा बेटा छोटा है, so I am not able to take that risk. So I will continue working, लेकिन I will handle the market development. I know how to do that. Technical भी मुझे काफी सा है. I have this resource who will help in the as a technical resource for you. But then having a technical knowledge is only maybe 25% of any business. Handling the administrative part, handling the business operations, handling the finances, and taking the correct managerial decision is most important part of any business for a successful entrepreneur. And that is what he said, if you can do that, let us get into this. And 3 months back, I finally ventured into becoming an entrepreneur, and we formed this company called Encoat. We are into enamel coating of products. We have already undertaken, I mean, we took already a small order and then formed a company. So now actually we are going through a very challenging phase कि मुझे डिलीवरी करनी है, मेरे 2 machines ऑर्डर किए हैं, वो आए नहीं है, अब मैं क्या करूं. So there again, so being an entrepreneur, this is though we think that we know everything, this is a completely different arena. जो मतलब बोलते हैं ना, मैदान में उतर के ही पता चलता है कि it's a lot of unseen, unexpected and untested area, but very enterprising and very, very interesting area, and very tempting. So there are certain things which are very important, which I have tried to summarize, and I'm trying to implement also myself right from day one. That when I'm being an entrepreneur, सबको ये लगता है मेरी कंपनी है, मुझे सब कुछ आता है. No, sorry. आता है, समझता है, but do you have a bandwidth to handle everything? Ask this question to yourself. Because when it is your own enterprise, you have to work as a worker. Okay, अगर वर्कर कभी छुट्टी मारता है तो आपको उधर भी खड़ा रहना पड़ता है. You have to work as a salesman, do the business development. You have to work as a human resource management, क्योंकि वर्कर्स से काम करवा के लेना है, right kind of people choose करना है. So you have to wear that hat. You have to always be a finance head and manage your finances and resources, which are normally very limited and scarce. You have to do that. You have to take the business decisions. Priority क्या करनी है, कैसे करना है, like a make or sell, आउटसोर्स क्या करना है, ये एक्टिविटी में इन्वेस्टमेंट अभी करनी है नहीं करनी है. दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ अ बिजनेस रोल, आई वुड से MD एज अ डायरेक्टर और हेड ऑफ द बिजनेस, आई वुड से. यू हैव टू आल्सो डू अ PR, क्योंकि वो काफी जरूरी है. मेरा नेटवर्किंग काफी जरूरी है. आई हैव टू डू अ परचेसिंग ऑल्सो, तो मेरी वेंडर डेवलपमेंट है, उसमें कॉस्टिंग कैसे किया है. आई नीड टू वर्क विद सम टेक्निकल पर्सन टू अंडरस्टैंड. सो कैन आई डू एवरीथिंग? I know all these areas are important. I know मोटा मोटा कि ये कैसे करना है, और ये बहुत ही स्किल्ड इंपॉर्टेंट बिजनेसेस है, एरियाज ऑफ बिजनेसेस है। और जो कि मेरा कंपनी छोटा है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हर चीज मैं करूं। मैं कर सकते हूं या नहीं इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट, बट शुड आई डू इट? Do I do a value addition? Will I do the justice by wearing all these hats? This is the question everyone has to ask himself or herself and decide which one is very, very important. So for being an entrepreneur, to start any enterprise, there are a lot of areas in the first our introductory slides, also in your FIIP, I mean FIIP presentation also you use the area, lot of areas which enterprise has to be focusing on. So इसमें से at least 2 areas one has to be expert in that. You cannot be a jack of all, but you have to be expert at least minimum 2 areas. For example, finance and marketing, or people management, general administration and finance. See, I'm not an expert in market development. I'm not a very expert in purchase. I know generally मेरा PR में मेरा key focus नहीं है. This is not my area of strength. So we have internally agreed, we are 3 people. So we have internally agreed by that my nephew will handle the business development part, the pure technical person who has experience of running this type of unit for last 15 years he has been working. So he will handle the pure technical part कि इस प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन में कौन सी एक्टिविटी होनी चाहिए, प्रोसेस क्या होनी चाहिए, उसका केमिकल कंपोजिशन जो हमारा पेंट है उसका क्या होना चाहिए, वो फर्नेस कैसे बनानी है. Because then we took a collective decision whether to make or order. Then we realized कि for example furnace जो है, जो major equipment है हमारा, if I order it is going to cost me X amount, and it is going to because it is going to be a tailor made, the supplier is going to take at least 3.5 months to make that. Vis-a-vis that person, my technical person is confident he can make it within 50% of the cost and within 1.5 months. But then the risk is, as I said, continuous risk evaluation. We evaluated this risk कि इसमें कुछ गलत भी हो सकता है, because that person is not in the business of manufacturing furnace, but he has enough knowledge how that furnace should function. So what we did is we hired, or we took a help of again seek help and hire help, collaborate. We try to find out an expert in the furnace manufacturing, very senior person. We have appointed him. We are taking his help as an advisor. So each and everything, even though we are manufacturing ourselves, हम हमारा डिजाइन, हमारा वो कंसेप्चुअल डिजाइन और पूरा जो डायग्राम है और जो पैरामीटर्स है, इतना हीट होना चाहिए, ये होना चाहिए, we are getting it cross verified from that consultant. So here what we did is we took a call whether to make or buy. So we decided to make it ourselves. We sought help. We collaborated with the consultant who is an expert in that, because none of us are expert in manufacturing furnace, but we want to do it. Why? Because it is very economical for us. 50% में बन रही है और कम time में बन रही है. But we are now facing little challenges in that way, but we are facing, we are overcoming that. So this is the decision, therefore has to be always a collaborative decision, which is very important. Okay, मैं boss हूँ, मैं shareholder हूँ, मेरी company है, मैं decide करूँगी. कैसे decide करोगे? We have to understand and accept that I don't have that every kind of, my God नहीं हूँ, I don't have a expertise in everything. I have to collaborate. This is a very, very important point for any entrepreneur. जो मैंने जो गलतियां देखी है उसमें से we have learned. I'm trying to implement that while I'm working. I have ventured as an entrepreneur, I would say. Again, as I said, keep all your plans ready. Plan A, plan B. Assume that there will be always a risk. Can keep on continuously evaluating your risks and keep on making alternative plans for because failure is not the choice. See, a few years back I went to US and I visited those museums. तो वो जो उनका स्पेस म्यूजियम है, there they sell those souvenirs. There was one souvenir and t-shirt या कुछ तो था, and this was a tagline for Apollo, I think 13 or 14th, I think, and now they sell it as a basic tagline ki failure is not a choice, failure is not an option. So failure is not an option should be our always a motto for any entrepreneur. Then only we will be able to find out a solution, find out alternative, seek help, find alternative. But accepting failure is not an option. If we go with this and we believe in ourselves and the team, I think that is the key for being a successful entrepreneur. So this is my, I would say, 2 cents or few cents from my experience of being a professional in terms of my position as a CFO, a leader because of my experience in the industry and the entrepreneur. So I think this is all from my side. I don't think I overshoot the time limit. Oh, okay. So this is where I come to end of my maybe inputs, and I think are we open for the questions, or maybe you can take over, Sucheta?
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, that's mind blowing. The entire session was so mind blowing. I was taking notes and just kept on taking notes.
I don't know. I didn't look.
And all.
I didn't look at the watch, but then yeah, I mean, I thought let me share.
Being actually entrepreneur and being a mentor, a business mentor, actually I learned a lot from you. Few of the things I keep mentioning, the product costing, bringing down the cost during the processes. Right now, the government has introduced ZED certification. We're going towards or stepping towards sustainability and all these things. Then you have mentioned something called as failure, or is being a part of the business but not accepting it as a failure.
Yeah.
The third thing, I really appreciate this particular thing, the restructuring of the company or the organization when required.
Yeah.
Taking that particular decision, that's really great thing actually. So many things which I kept on writing, and I don't know about others, but I definitely have many questions for you, ma'am. But let's move ahead with our like we still have some time, and let's move ahead with our program, and let's invite Deepti Vedala, a young lady over here, a health professional. And she would be talking about balancing the career and personal life of women. Now, this young girl, let me introduce her to you. This young girl got married, shifted her place from India to US. She got married, she has a baby, shifted her place. 3 things coming in her career at same point of time, but she did not like taken a back seat. That is the most important thing I liked about her. She is accomplished healthcare professional, completed her double post-graduation of M.Pharmacy and MBA in Healthcare Management from LMIMS Mumbai. She worked for 2 years as Project Management Associate at Alembic Pharmaceuticals. Born a Telugu girl and yeah, Navnath sir, please. Yeah, born a Telugu girl but raised as Marathi. And Deepti grew up in a border town of Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. And believe me, she talks fluent Telugu, fluent Marathi, fluent Gujarati. She talks a bit of Tamil and then Sanskrit also. For the last 4 years, she has been working in US as a project manager for an NGO which serves as a serves for the needy communities in the state of Arizona, USA. She stands by the principle of lean thinking and Six Sigma. She has a strong passion for innovation, continuous quality improvement to provide better healthcare to all. At her organization, she leads the efforts towards JEDI, Justice, Equity, Diversity and Inclusion, the very hot topic in corporates nowadays, and is very passionate about it. Over to you, Deepti. We are all ears for you.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening, everybody. And I should say a big shout out to you all who have made it after a very busy work day, and in spite of having so many chores at home, you still made it to this webinar to celebrate women and womanhood. And why not? Very rightly so, because women have made their mark in all the various different sectors, and been on the forefront as leaders in their sectors. So thank you very much for being here today and taking this time out. So Madhuri Manji has touched upon a little bit of the work-life balance piece, which I was going to talk about today. So I'll try to make more justice to it by giving my examples and how I have been able to get that work-life balance. So let's jump into my story now. So like Sucheta ji mentioned, I did my post-graduation. I did 7 years of education in healthcare. I knew healthcare was the industry that I wanted to always be in. And after that, I landed in a very good job, been there for close to 2 years, maybe 6 more months, and I would have got my first promotion. But then, like everything, education is over. Now, what's the next step? Beta shadi kar lo. So, and guess what? The boy is in America. So I had to move all the way to America. And here, it took me some time to really adjust and accommodate to the environment, to understand how is the work style here, how are things to be approached. So of course, with a lot of support from my partner, I was able to finally land in a job. I rewrote some exams, I had to give my, redo some of my licenses. So more study in spite of the 7 years. And then I was able to land in a job in the same field. So typically, most of the women, when they come to America, an easier route is to, just do some IT certification and get into an IT job. I have seen that happen sadly across with a lot of women, that they are forced to move into a different field than they have done their education in, just because of the fact that it's easier to get into IT in America than into healthcare or other fields, because you're required to do a lot of re-education and re-certification, give exams, qualify. It's just a very long, tedious process. And just after just completing 7 years of education, finally getting a job, almost being there to go to the next level, having to redo that all again is no fun at all. But my partner made it fun. He motivated me, and we together cracked these exams, and it was all good. Finally got there. And then 2 years into this new job, bam, next change in my life. I am a pregnant lady about to have my child during the pandemic. Well, it all happened very well, and I'm blessed with a baby girl. And the best part was I was able to bring that transition very smoothly into my professional career. So I do lead the efforts towards justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in my organization. And inclusion started right here with me. My baby became part of my work professional space. So she came to all my Zoom meetings with me. My clients knew her, my teammates knew her. So I was able to set up a little crib by the office space that I in my office. Was able to give her some space to roll around and play in that small area that I was working. So I did not feel the compromise of, okay, I am needed for this organization. Career is important to me. Baby is important to me. My family is important to me. So I was able to bring her with me. I was able to convince my organization, my team, to understand the fact that that this is the new normal. This has to be the new normal. If they want me to work, they have to be inclusive of the fact that I'm a mother to a newborn, and there are needs that need to be fulfilled, and it's something that I can do while also managing my career and be inclusive. So that was incredible of my organization also to understand and take that additional step and meet me where I am. So I was just alluding, I mean, when Madhuri ji mentioned that there are some choices, sometimes it's harder to take that decision to take a step back, but the good thing is now we have more resources to be inclusive of all those economic, social changes that a woman goes through in all of her career. And this brings me to the last note that which I wanted to share with everybody before I leave, which is about gender equity. So what is gender equity versus gender equality? I can explain this in a very simple example. So think of this nice, long, tall, handsome man and a pretty little lady. You have to give it to the fact that women are in general shorter than men. So they are both asked to, there's this nice big wall, and they're both asked to actually look beyond the wall. So what would they need to do that? Let's give them a stool, maybe. If they step on the stool, maybe they will be able to look beyond, climb up and see what's beyond the wall. So we give them both a stool. So do you think we have achieved equality? Do you think we have done justice? So let's see what happens now. So the tall guy stands on the stool, and he reaches the height of the wall and is able to see beyond the wall. There's a nice green grass, big mountains and sunset. He's able to enjoy that. Great. And this little lady, she jumps up on her stool and she cannot reach the height because that stool is not enough for her. She needs maybe 2 more stools to stand on and be at the same height as this nice tall guy. That is equity. So you're providing resources to these two folks, individuals, so that they can achieve the same outcome. But you're missing the fact that if one needs X amount of resources, the other is needing X plus Y amount of resources. Understanding that fact is health equity. Is gender equity in this case. I talk about health equity at work, so that's the reason why. So this is gender equity, and that is the need of the hour for us. So if you want gender equality, you have to think about gender equity. Only if you are able to provide the right amount of resources to each individual is when they are able to reach an equal status. And that is when we can say that justice has happened and justice has prevailed. So, there's a quote out there that says, when girls are given the right tools to succeed, they can create incredible futures, and not only for themselves, but for all of those who are around them. Well, even locally, we have this saying that mulgi shikli tar pragati zali. So if a woman is given the right resources, right amount of resources, we have to understand that each individual is different. Even when we say women, as a woman, resources I need versus some resources that you need may be different. And meeting that at a professional level is what will help us, empower the women. So another thought. So we say that a lot. We have seen a lot of successful women out there. They have, climbed a lot of steps in their careers and reached the top. But then if you ask them a simple question of, okay, you are a successful professional, but can you tell me, do you do your own income tax? Do you do your own, do you know where your retirement funds are going? Do you know, which odd different places your savings are at? Are you responsible for your own your own finances? A lot of time it is incredible to hear that successful women, not all successful women are actually owning their own finances. They are still relying on men, and that's a gap. That's again, that's the gender equity piece that's missing in the whole puzzle of women empowerment, because as kids, as children, maybe a girl and a boy are given the same resources, they're given the same education, they're given same level of opportunities to grow professionally. But when it comes down to finances, it's still a boy's thing. When it comes down to kitchen, it's still a girl's thing. That's the kind of norm that has to be broken. And right, to be fair, we are getting there, which is good. That's actually when we can create the true Atmanirbhar Stree for the whole of India. So that's my 2 cents, and I appreciate you all giving me this opportunity to talk about JEDI. I'm very close. I'm very, very passionate about the JEDI efforts, and I would be happy to work with anyone if or provide more clarity if you want on what is JEDI, how it should be incorporated into your workspace, because it's high time we treat everybody with JEDI eyes. Thank you very much again.
That was wonderful, Deepthi. I mean, I must appreciate you. I did not touch this terminology of gender equality or embrace equity, the slogan for this year by UN for on International Women's Day. But then very well explained what is the equity and what is equality, and how the equal opportunities to empower the women should be provided. And all like आत्मनिर्भर भारत के साथ आत्मनिर्भर स्त्री के साथ आत्मनिर्भर भारत को किस तरह से अचीव किया जा सकता है. Wonderfully put together. Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, on a single request of mine, you have joined here. Thank you so much. I open this forum for question and answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no answer, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Sucheta ji.
Yeah.
And
thank you so much. Let's move ahead and hand it over to Navnath sir. I think it's too late today. Let's conclude the session. Navnath sir, please take over.
it was very fantastic sessions. I request to Sucheta, please take the next part for the question answers.
Yeah. So we at FIIP actually bring in lots of opportunities to the professional and entrepreneurs at the same time. Please join FIIP through Spot or through Network, and you will have wonderful lectures like Madhuri madam has given today, or Deepthi has talked, or Sunita has talked today. So we will be listening many more like this, and I thank wholeheartedly Madhuri madam. You were excellent. There are few of the speeches throughout my life. Actually, I can मी त्याला जपून ठेवते म्हणतो आपण. तर तुमचं आजचं एक लेक्चर आहे ते मी जपून ठेवणार आहे माझ्या लाईफ म्हणजे माझ्या पूर्ण लाईफ मध्ये. थँक्यू सो मच फॉर एनलाइटनिंग ऑल ऑफ अस. Deepti, thank you so much. Sunita, thank you so much for joining us and giving your way of keeping us healthy, all of us women helping and keeping us healthy. FIIP, thank you so much for providing such a beautiful platform and like starting a woman wing specifically. Urmila madam, thank you so much for being there always for us. Thank you everyone for joining. We will conclude this session here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.